last posted on this channel. And today, it's never dropped from my mind. This channel has always been on my mind, and I've always been thinking about how I need to post again and start posting again. And today I am gonna talk a little bit about why I stopped posting, and I'm gonna drink some water and fidget around with some stuff, like some pens and some combs and whatever. But mostly I just wanted to take some time selfishly today to post about what's been going on in my life for the past couple years and why I haven't posted and where I'm filming this from. Because right now I'm in a closet, my closet, but I'm living at my parents' house. I used to live alone by myself, but I have been back in my parents' house for several months now, and this is my childhood bedroom that I used to share with my sister, and now I've just moved back in here, and I'm filming this video in the closet because it's got a lot of soundproofing, and it's about the quietest place in the house that I can think of, so apologies for the poor lighting. I know that one ceiling light bulb isn't ideal, but it's the only place where I feel comfortable doing this right now. So, without further ado, when I last posted a video, I believe, and I really should have checked my channel before this, but I believe I was at the same apartment where my cat used to show up in some of those videos, my cat Coffee Bean. And I had saved that cat from the street. I found her many years ago when I was living at my parents' house, at the same house, before I ever lived alone or anything. And her name was Coffee Bean. Eventually she moved in with me as I was living alone, and she always had some health issues ever since I found her, and they would just get worse and worse, and there was nothing we could really do, so I had to make the tough decision to put her down. And I'm trying to figure out how real I should get in this video, and I think I should just get really real with y'all, because I'm tired of pretending like things are okay when they're not. I started struggling with depression, heavy depression, when I was in college. That was about, suffice to say, that was several years ago. And since then, I've struggled with depression on and off, and I think a large part of what perpetuates my depression is the feeling that I need to keep a mask on around others or portray some false version of my reality, and lie to people about who I really am and what's really going on. So, when I had to put my cat down, I was really sad about it, obviously, and I felt like my cat was the only creature who truly saw the real me, the authentic me, the me who I was when I felt like nobody was watching except for my cat. And I had never grieved any living thing that hard after it passed, and I've had loved a much lesser extent now that I'm at my parents' place, but I still escape the house and get high. And it's not something that I like anymore. I don't think that I've ever really liked the idea of feeling reliant on any substance, but I've found myself over the past couple of years, more than that, over the past 4 years now, like, just hopelessly addicted to weed, among other things, but primarily to weed, but also to sugar, and also to porn and masturbation, and that's something that I try and combat, but I believe that at the root of addiction, I believe that you need to get to the root of your addiction. I don't think that you can just, force yourself to stop. Let's say you love, like I do, let's say you constantly consume weed and get high. If I force myself to stop doing that, which I have tried many, many times, to, some success, and, sometimes more successful than others, but I always come back to it. But anyway, sometimes I've tried, and I find that, if I'm not escaping through getting high, then all of a sudden my mind starts craving other escapes. So I'll start drinking, or I'll start, microdosing mushrooms, or I'll start eating a lot more sugar and junk food, or just anything to escape the pain. And I don't really know what I can say to explain my life over the past year and a half, 2 years after I quit that job. I was just constantly seeking pleasure and not really trying to own up to any responsibilities. My narrative about myself over my whole life has been that I've always done so much for so many other people, and I'm a caretaker in my family. I have disabled people in my family, and I've had to step up and be like an adult ever since I was a kid. And I didn't really have much in the way of parental guidance or parental support, and so I kind of had to grow up quick, and I was so jaded about all of that, and I felt that I just deserved freedom. And so that freedom turned into just constant escapism, and I enjoyed myself at least this was work that aligned a little bit better with what I like. I was selling a product, like an engineering product that was real and physical. I would have been actually like implementing real things and a thing that has like a physical purpose. And it was something that I convinced myself that I could be proud of. And so I did the interviews and I did all that. I went through 4 interviews. They even flew me to another state to meet with my future manager, my potential manager. And I met with it wasn't a huge company, so I met with like leadership VPs and like the C-suite and all that. Eventually they offered me the job and I accepted the offer verbally. And then they sent me like, okay, you have to get background checked and drug tested. And I knew that I wouldn't pass a drug test. THC would show up in my urine if I took the test. And so I started panicking because I had like 4 days to take this drug test. So I started looking through my contacts and seeing, who could help me out. And I started considering doing all these things to pass the test and to lie and to do things that are not good to do, in my opinion. And I started making all these plans. But I felt that I was going down that same road again. Of lying and of putting on a mask and not telling people who I really am and not being really authentic, I really value this idea, this moral, or just this idea of living a life that is 100% honest and 100% authentic. And I'm certainly not there yet, but I don't like to lie to people. I don't like it anymore. I think that it just damages me too much spiritually and mentally and emotionally and physically. And so I asked for an extension on the drug test date, and I got a concerned phone call from HR and from my future manager as well. And I made up some BS about why I wanted to extend the date and all that. But after hanging up on that phone call, I just felt so bad about it that I messaged the future manager, and I told her the real reason was that I consume cannabis therapeutically, and I fear that THC would show up on the test, and that's why I'm requesting an extension. And I mentioned that I don't feel comfortable revealing that, but I didn't want to start our professional relationship on lies. And so, I get some vague, like, okay, thanks for circling back, I'll get back to you. And I wait a day, and then basically just today, they rescinded the offer, and they gave me a bunch of vague, BS about why they did it, like lack of excitement about the position or lack of urgency or whatever, but it's quite obvious what the real reason is. And so, part of me is confused, like, did I make the right choice, or am I self-sabotaging? Is that what this is? Is this song and dance about living an authentic life? Is it really just veiled self-sabotage? Because I certainly continue to lie to people who I value in my regular life. I lie to my family about my weed habit. I lie, little white lies here and there. So why did I feel the strong need to tell the truth here, when it's something so essential like a job and an income? But, I don't really think that I'm self-sabotaging if I really am honest with myself. I think that I'm just being the person who I want to be, and I think it's going to be harder than just living this fake life. But even though less than an hour ago, this offer was rescinded, and I don't know, I really don't know where to go from here, but for some reason, sorry, I dropped my pen. For some reason, I just felt like making a video today. Maybe it's this urge to be heard by strangers. But I've been thinking about making videos ever since I stopped making them. I've always wanted to, and for some reason or the other, I've always just convinced myself that it's not the right time, but I guess the right time comes when the right time comes. So that's where I'm at. And I hope that this very informal, very kind of selfish, kind of trauma dumping type of YouTube video will lead to subsequent ASMR videos that are a little bit more for y'all and less for me. But I just wanted to explain the stuff that's been going on. It's a gross summarization